Hey, tolerators, it is officially our summer break for 2025, and I just wanted to let you know that the episode you're about to hear is either Patreon exclusive content I'm making public, an episode I thought it would be fun to revisit from past years, or a still comfy movie review with Julia Washington. I hope you have a great summer with lots of great memories. I hope you keep smiling instead of tolerating. And I will see you in the fall with all new episodes of To All the Men I've Tolerated Before. Hey, tolerators. This is To All the Men I've Tolerated Before with Natalie Katona, the show where my guest and I chat about how society will truly allow men to get away with anything and then applaud them for their low efforts. Today, my guest is one of my favorite creators. Laura Danger is an educator and fair play advocate. When you follow her on any of her social medias, you will see a lot of content directed at men who claim to be a little too helpless when it comes to domestic life and all the work that comes with it. And that's what we'll be talking about today. Thanks for being here, Laura.
I am beyond thrilled. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. So what led you to being first off, can you explain to the crowd what a fair play advocate is? Because I'm sure people are like, preschool time where they make you share and care.
Yeah. So Fair Play is a book written by the author Eve Rodsky. She has a background from Harvard. She builds systems and helps big, multi-generation wealthy families organize.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's really great at communication and systems. She developed this way to discuss the mental load.
Yeah.
Because so many of us fall into these default roles where it's like, okay, tell me how to help, or make me a list, or just remind me how to do it. And it's a system, it's a set of tools, set of communication tools that help solve that. Of course, what we are going to talk about a little bit is like, you can't drag someone to the party.
No.
So I've got tools, but I also am fully aware that not everyone's going to use those tools.
Well, and I think when it comes to the make me a list or give me very clear instructions, like people don't understand that that is also a mental and emotional load that you are asking a person to do for you in order to be helpful.
Yeah, it's still work. Sometimes it's more work to tell you what to do than to just do it myself.
I am aware of like people who have had to make what I would call substitute plans because I used to teach when having to leave their children or maybe even just like a dog with their partner. It's like you had to make a packet. I remember my mom having to like lay out our clothing in little people forms because my dad didn't, I guess, understand that shirts went on my torso and pants went on my butt. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw a TikTok the other day. Someone tagged me in it where it was like this like organizer and was like, we're going on vacation, or I'm going out of town. That's what it was. I'm going out of town. Here's how you make sure that your kids are dressed properly. And she made bags, just like what you're saying, with like underwear, socks, and but like, get this, okay? I do it too, so we'll get into that.
Yes,
but I make mistakes all the time. Just yesterday, my 6-year-old came downstairs. I usually dress the 2-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
The 6-year-old came downstairs and wasn't wearing socks. And he was like, $100. Try to guess who got Charlie dressed today. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot her socks again. Like, I never remember to put socks on this kid. Because I mean, like, some of us have different values that we're grown up with. And I'm like dirty foot kid.
Yeah, I love being barefoot. I'm right there with you. But it's so great that you brought up mistakes because that's what I was mulling over today while I was vacuuming is this idea of, so we make mistakes all the time. And like, I think women do a little bit of internalizing the we make a mistake where when you're looking at your male partner and you've made him realize like, hey, they need a jacket. It's 50 degrees. A lot of the situations I've been in is watching that grown man then be like, it's never enough. And you're always complaining. And I try so hard. And it's like, no one said you weren't trying.
Yeah.
I just asked you to get a jacket from the closet.
Yeah. Yeah. That's this like, I don't know. So should we name it? Should we name what it
Let's
is?
name it. Yeah.
So the term I usually use is weaponized incompetence.
Yes.
But I really appreciate you also called it weaponized helplessness.
Yes. Yes.
And it's so that where you're like, okay, I need you to do the laundry and I need you to not fuck it up.
Right.
And then they're like, it's never enough.
Mm-hmm.
Remind me how to do it. How do you expect me to be able to do this?
I worked all day. I worked all day. And my boss is a dick. This is like coming straight from my childhood and my home. I hate my job. I work so I don't have to be the person who's doing all of this. And now you're asking me to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do. I work so hard all day.
Uh-huh.
And then you expect me to have a second job when I get home.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I've balanced 8 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I've been nanny, cook, nurse. I've done it all.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And like, when's my time off?
Right. I feel like we talk a lot on the podcast about how it comes off as anger and it comes off as this like righteousness, like I shouldn't have to. But what it really boils down to is we don't teach people how to deal with shame and that gut reaction of like, oh, did I do something wrong? And I think when I'm ashamed of something, I just like quietly go into the shower to cry and no one needs to know. It can just stay with me. But when other people feel shame, it's just this like volatile, like, how dare you make me feel like I did something wrong?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Have you ever been to couples counseling with someone?
No, I've never had anyone invested in me enough to see my therapist.
Yeah, okay. Well, from what I hear from a lot of people is, and I have a couples counselor, but he's never said this to us, which is like, oh, it's like the cycle of shame. It's like telling the person who is the default or the person who's being asked to write a list, reteach all that, be the director. They're putting the responsibility on that person to present it more kindly.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, just like you should appreciate the small steps toward equity and stuff. And it's like, no,
I
no.
refuse. Also, I don't know how to make, hey, could you please get a jacket out of the closet kinder? I don't want to preface that with, hey, you over there, you managed to put lawn pants on the kid, and that's fantastic. Or, hey, you, big old you with the good brain. You managed to put all of the dishes in the dishwasher. You didn't turn it on and you didn't unload it, but you put them all in there.
That's the part that kills me. And I made a video about it the other day and I called it the nag paradox.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like when one partner continuously drops the ball, doesn't complete a task, isn't doing follow through, asks for a list, and is unreliable.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the partner gets frustrated or refuses to remind them or opts out completely and says, I'm not even going to ask you anymore.
Right.
They are a nag. They're frigid. They're cold. They're angry for no reason, overreacting.
Right.
It's like, pick one.
Right.
Also, do you need me or not?
Right. And also, can we talk about how literally unattractive it is to raise your partner and then to also baby your partner through every step of your day?
Yeah.
It's just, it sets up this dynamic, and I am very lucky to where I've, for the most part, lived my adult life in my own home where every decision was on me. It's created this paradox that when other people plan things, I'm constantly like running a rubric in my head, like that's not what I would have chosen to do.
Yeah.
How does that make sense for the plan of today's goal to
Yeah.
all of a sudden be here doing this instead of closer to where we were supposed to be? I have so many friends where it's like, would you like to play 20 questions with me on why my husband is giving me the silent treatment? Because I also don't know. So let's just run through what I may have done with his fragile, fragile ego to where he's just checked out of our family.
Yeah, the place where I see this weaponized helplessness and weaponized incompetence has mostly been in online through these
Mm-hmm.
videos that make jokes about it.
Right.
At work, very frequently.
Mm-hmm.
And through like friends whose husbands are like it's like the Al Bundy, or
Yeah.
like it's like so over the top, and I'm like, is it a bit? Like,
Yeah.
why are you with this person that doesn't respect you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's hard to watch.
I love that you brought in work because I have constantly had to work for men. And that means that I have constantly had to walk them through making an online food order. And I'm like,
Oh no.
I was like, you've never been on DoorDash before? And they're like, how do I know how many bagels that I'm going to want for the event? And it's like, you just kind of guess. you
Yeah.
just, you kind of ballpark how many people are going to be there and how you want the bagels cut. And then you arrive at a number and they're like, but like, I don't know what kind of cream cheese do we need? And it's like any of them. just, and then you sit there and you're like, I'll just do it. I'll figure out the, like, and then they hover over you
Hmm.
because not only are not only are they feigning incompetent and they're too above you to make the catering order, but they also don't trust that your little brain will make the catering order the exact way they've pictured it in their brain.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. In Fair Play, there's a really interesting piece that I don't cover much because there's so much nuance to it. Like, I can cover it in coaching if I'm
Mm-hmm.
working directly with somebody, but it's really hard to sum up. So, it's this like hero move where, and this used to happen with my husband and I when we first had a baby, um, because like he worked 12 to 13-hour days, and then I was fully home. And so I would develop all of these systems and things that worked for me and the baby, and then he would come in and I'd be like, I need you to be engaged with this, I need you to help.
Mm-hmm.
I was pre Fair Play. Things have gotten so much better. um but he would jump in and he would do it differently without consulting me.
Okay.
And it was part of, like you said, it was like part of that pride thing, and also like wanting to feel like a confident partner and a confident parent. But we were missing this step where, like, okay, I know that it's really hard to ask your wife and parent of your child, like, what should I do here?
Mm-hmm.
But also, I've had 7 months at home with this baby, and I've read the books and I've practiced these things, and I actually am kind of the expert here. So you need to
Right.
stop being the hero and like swooping in and coming up with some totally new plan.
Yeah.
And so that was where like all of the hot button issues, like feeling incompetent, undermining each other, not communicating clearly, um, and then like that's where my couples therapist would be like, can you just congratulate him on being, I'm not saying they did say this, I'm saying if
Yeah.
I had a shitty one, they would say like,
Yeah.
just be grateful, instead of like, oh, okay, here's the miscommunication, let's clear it up.
Right. No, my friend has told me that that's what she went through. They were like, well, have you ever just tried, I believe it was, have you ever just tried to model gratitude to him? And she went,
No.
no. because I model gratitude to my 6-year-olds and he's around.
And it's like, okay, this is the thing. I don't think that as many men are taught empathy.
Correct.
And like, that's just an unfortunate
It's a
reality.
thing. And now now it's leaked everywhere. We talk about empathy all the time and how I crave it in my
Yeah.
everyday interactions with people.
And yeah, it's like, why does the dude at work think that you know better?
Mm-hmm.
Why does he think you're more perceptive? Why does he think you have the time?
Right. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like, you've been in the world existing in a workplace and ordering bagels for the same amount of time he has. Why are
Mm-hmm.
you the expert?
Well, and one time the same man reprimanded me because he knew more context about one of the families coming to our camps than I did. So then he had to correct my work based on the context he was given. And then I sat there and went, I have talked to that child's father. I have talked to that child's mother. This grandmother is a new person, but I just talked to her today. But in all of the conversations, I sat with them and walked through all of our paperwork with a parent or guardian attached to this child. And now you're screaming at me because they called you pissed off and then gave you 18 new facts about allergies and dietary restrictions and budgetary concerns and all of it. And now you're mad because I didn't read that in their scenario. He goes, I just really feel like you could have asked more leading questions. I go, more leading questions than filling out the goddamn paperwork for them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's like just not great leadership.
No, at all. He was toxic. We talk about it often.
Yeah, the thing that, I'm going to also like throw this out there that one of the biggest examples of this that I've seen at work was my supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a woman. She was in a supervising role over me in special education.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, for the audience, if you don't know, part of the role of being a special educator is writing a huge, like a 40-page document about each child you get. You have to update it every year. You track their data, consult with clinicians. It's like a huge multi-week thing. And then even you're collecting data for longer than that. There's a database online where you log in and it's like a million complicated pieces. If you don't save it right, it sucks. So there are also very, very strict laws about a ton of it. As a special educator, I have to know all of those laws and how to do it. As a supervisor, you need to lead the special education teachers in how to do this because you are responsible for coaching, collaborating, and getting everybody's voices in a timely manner on the document and then collaborate with the parents.
Right.
She didn't know how to make an IEP. Never. That's the document. That's the name of the document.
Big document. Yeah.
Had never in her entire career made one. And would ask repeatedly for people to coach her through it. So not only did she not make it, she needed someone to give her an example regularly. And so it was double, triple work instead of just being like, can you do it? I would rather just freaking do it for you.
Exactly. And I think, so does the Fair Play, the person who wrote that book, are they also the person who came up with the spoons? Like everyone has 6 spoons worth of energy a day. And if I give you my spoon, I'm left with 5 spoons to then give the cat the dishes and vacuuming or something.
She didn't come up with that, but that's such a brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard people say I'm out of spoons.
I'm out of spoons. It's very trendy. It's like you get, like, everyone has their own, like, selection of spoons. And every time you do something within your day, you give away a spoon. I'm convinced that because I'm obsessed with the number 3, I either have 3 spoons to 9 spoons, depending, like 3, 6, or 9, depending on how well I've slept and taken care of myself. But it's one of those things, and I think where I get frustrated is this feeling where it's like, I've never been allowed to be helpless a day in my life, And when I have asked for help, I've been looked at like I have three heads.
Mm-hmm.
So my mother is a special education teacher. So I know how to self accommodate for myself because I was
Yeah.
also a teacher. But sometimes you'll have to heads up the person who determines your pay grade and be like, hey, this is a thing that I struggle with. And therefore, I am going to need it double checked by you. And I'm crossing my fingers that gets done with kindness. So for me, it's spatial awareness. I can't lay anything straight. I had to edit these resource guides from our marketing team. And my supervisor would just be able to notice spacing things or like that seems cocked weird or whatever. And I have no clue.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you if anything is spaced weird or aligned weird or whatever. But he was and then he would like end his look over of it. I do the grammar, the lessons, all of it, and I'd write all the copy for it. And he'd look over it and be like, I can't believe that you missed that this should be over 7/8 of an inch. And I'm like, I also can't believe that I missed that. Seeing as I told you that I am not a spatial learner at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's one of those things where I have put down my vulnerability and kind of worked through my own shame to go, I'm going to make mistakes in this. And when it comes to the weaponized helplessness, it's I get to be helpless. I'm going to stay helpless. And if you try to push me past my helplessness, I'm going to yell at you for trying to challenge me and make me feel small.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that word helpless is so interesting to
Mm-hmm.
me. There's this study I recently found that basically says that, like in a room where there are men and women at work, if somebody asks for a volunteer, almost 100% of the time, women will volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
But like, even if women wait for a long period of time and wait for men to volunteer, they won't.
Mm-hmm.
But in a room of all men, some men will volunteer. And it's so interesting that you say, like, you've not been allowed to be helpless.
Mm-hmm.
And I 100% agree. And like, we were raised like, as white women, it's like, as a white woman, I'm like, I need to be as good as or better than the men in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like worse and double awful when you're a black woman in a room
Yes.
and you have to be like a double, triple better than everyone else. And the expectation on you is so heavy.
Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, what gets me about this weaponized incompetence is you don't value my labor at all. I am
Mm-hmm.
constantly being told, why is this a big deal? Or why
Ah.
wasn't that easier for you? Or why are you talking about that now? Because you don't value my opinions or my labor. But then when asked to do a small piece of the labor that I do every day, you're like, what do you mean some things have to be hand washed and some things can just go on the machine? And it's like, well, it's on a tag. Now I have to read a tag? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the piece that kills me, which is like, why is it a big deal if you just like order the bagels? Can you just order the bagels?
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's a big deal because it's so much of a big deal to you that you have no time for it.
Right.
But you're saying I do. So is it not a big deal or is it too big of a deal? I don't get
Right. Is it important or are you too important to feel like you can go on the internet and make a call about catering?
Right. Right.
Well, and then I love when there's no ally in the room and other women will just tell you, well, why didn't you just refuse to do it?
Mm.
Oh, okay. Because if I refuse to do it, and a lot of friends have told me, like, I've bowed out and I've waited to see how long those dishes will sit in the sink. And guess what? I got to week 2 and went, I can't do it one more day.
Yeah. And okay. So there was a survey that came out, and this is not a paid sponsorship,
Mm-hmm.
but Pure Leaf tea.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when this is coming out. Do you know when?
I have no idea.
Okay. So hopefully this will have already happened because
Oh,
of
you
the
mean my
day.
episode? I thought you
Yeah.
meant the Pure Leaf
No,
survey.
no.
I also don't have any idea. It should be August, September-ish.
Okay, then this is excellent. Great. So Pure Leaf is launching this campaign, and I'm really excited. I am going to be a small part of it. They are literally paying for specifically women
Mm-hmm.
to learn how to say no at work,
Yeah.
because there is, like, they did a survey and it's like 50% of women feel like they can't say no because there will be a negative repercussion. And it's probably like 70%, but
Mm-hmm.
there 30% of them legitimately do face repercussions at work, like being passed over, being seen as not a team player.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you're just going to let people sit back and let women do that?
Yeah.
So the other side of that is that this company is also coaching corporate leaders to be better at accepting no.
Yeah.
Like, how cool is
That
that?
is so cool
So
because
cool.
I think what ends up happening is if it can happen in the corporate capitalist world, it can trickle home. And it's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
if my administrative assistant can also tell me no,
Yeah.
then the caretaker of my children can also say, nah, I got to tap out for an hour.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nobody likes to be told no, especially when it means you have to do more work.
Yes. Yes. And in my youth childhood home, some people had bigger pies than others. So if you asked someone who had a very, very small pie to do more work or to try and divvy out that pie to more people, then it was like an immediate meltdown because they're like, but I already did this stuff. And you're like, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know. You fed 4 people, but 8 people showed up to the party, so I don't know what to tell you.
It's a great one. Yeah, that also ties back to, like, socially, so many of us were raised to think of our roles as like, you can have it all. You can have
Uh-huh.
a family and a career and like power suits. And because that's the dream of our mothers.
Mm-hmm.
And then men have just been like, be a provider.
Yeah.
But they aren't, that's not explained what that means. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, financially, you bring home the bacon, but in this world, you need to have dual incomes to have a family. And
Anything. Yeah.
yeah, it's like just bringing home the bacon isn't enough.
Right. You also have to like provide teachable moments for your children, love, affection, all of it. I love the paradigm in a home where a mother has run themselves ragged trying to do their job, cook dinner, clean the bathroom, all of it. And then in waltzes their provider, big man with the bacon, and he immediately like slumps onto the couch and goes, "Ugh, thank God. All I've wanted to do today is watch 3 episodes of Game of Thrones so I can decompress." And
Yeah.
he is allowed those 3 hours to just sit there, and children are crawling around. Sticky things are happening all over the home that was just cleaned. And he's just like, ugh, I cannot wait for Jon Snow to just soothe me away from my very, very hard day sitting in a cubicle.
Yeah, and even, you know what, I dug into research about this because they say that in a corporate environment, most people only focus on work 3 hours out of the day.
Uh-huh.
And I looked into construction
Yeah.
because a lot of blue collar guys are like, okay, this doesn't apply to me. But it does.
It
And
does, because the union makes sure that you have 15-minute breaks a lot of the day.
and what I looked into was like specifically how often a lot of people stand around
Mm-hmm.
on job sites.
Yeah.
And so like everybody works hard and I'm not trying to minimize that. And I know that like bricklaying is a lot of work and things like that. But it's just really funny the idea that like being home with children is not labor
At all. This is Natalie Katona, host of the podcast To All the Men I've Tolerated Before. Are you a business owner that would like to start advertising on podcasts and want to work one-on-one with the podcast host to craft the perfect message for your business on an episode? Well, you're in luck. I'm a one-woman operation, and I have ad space open on future episodes of To All the Men I've Tolerated Before. If you are interested in learning more about booking an ad with our show, please email me at menI've-tolerated-before@gmail.com. Thanks, and I can't wait for our future collaborations.
And so I got tagged in some woman's post. I took it down because she directly requested that I did.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that anytime. If I'm causing harm, I'm going to take it down. But this woman, she's got 2 kids. She's got like a baby and a toddler. And she's like, my husband came home and then he fell asleep. I've been home all day with the kids. And then I woke his ass up and then he put water on the stove, started to boil it, didn't even put the pasta in. And then I got so frustrated, I sent him back to bed. And at like 11 p.m., he's going to wake up and play video games once I've fed them and put them to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes, but I love him. Like, I'm not mad.
Right.
It's like, dude, you're allowed to be furious about that.
It's that for me. I love when someone will sit down and go, but you just don't know he's one of the good ones. And
No.
I'm like, oh, then I don't want any of them. I don't want any of them. And then my friends, when I say it, and I'm like, you won't catch this lady married and you won't catch her walking towards a man to do it. And they're like, well, don't you just think that you're letting all of the oppressive systems and your trauma win then? And it went, yes, because it taught me better. I don't know.
Yeah, like maybe it's my survival instinct kicking in.
I don't want to sleep behind enemy lines anymore, which is going to get me so much trouble when the men actually clue into this content happening. They're going to be like, aha, we finally got you to admit that we're the enemy, and now we will troll you.
No, it's the patriarchy. The patriarchy is the enemy.
Yes. And
it's not individual men. It's the patriarchy.
We've explained it to you that it's your enemy. It's our enemy. Yes. Everyone would be getting laid more if you just stopped gatekeeping and you valued us. We're just trying.
Right. And like, okay, so back to fair play. One really interesting benefit that came of introducing it for us was like, I've been home the last 3 days. I have cleaned out a huge, like weird walk-in closet that we have, taken everything out, sorted multiple years of backed up kids' clothes, identified 3 people to donate them to of different ages, sorted them into boxes, repainted the entire closet, and put everything back so my kids could go to bed in a safe room.
Yeah.
So when my husband came home, literally 0 things looked different. Because I put everything back. I had sorted the things into the basement, onto the back porch, and then into the car so that I could distribute. And if he didn't understand the labor, like I told him out loud what I did. And I was like, I just worked for 7 straight hours and did all of these amazing things. You're welcome. He actually understands. Like he came home and I didn't do the dishes and I didn't do the laundry.
Yeah.
And anybody else who didn't understand or hadn't become aware of how time consuming and also important that other piece was, like I covered up lead paint. That was the whole reason I did the project. He could have just come home and been like, you're constantly bugging me about the dishes and then you're home all day and you don't get them done.
Yes.
But instead he was like, no, I totally get it. You're task prioritizing and supporting our kids' needs and doing this big project. Like he sees it now. That's like the biggest benefit of a system like this is like makes that invisible stuff very visible.
So what are the tools that fair play has? Is it open communication? Is it explaining the labor? What does that look like in a home?
So the book actually goes through, there are 100 cards.
Mm-hmm.
And I have like a worksheet with them listed. There are 60 cards if you are just a couple, and then there's 40 additional if you have kids.
Yeah.
And basically, it's like, here are all of the things you need to do to run a house. Some of them are repeated multiple times a day, like eating.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them only happen once in a while, like dealing with home insurance. And then you go through, and it's like a card game, and you talk about each one. So it's like, okay, dishes. What is our family expectation for dishes? And so you're like, okay, it should be done once a day.
Mm-hmm.
The pots need to be prioritized, and preferably the entire sink would be empty and like clean,
Mm-hmm.
with the trap emptied. And then that's called setting the minimum standard of care. And then you talk about what that takes. So
Mm-hmm.
you'd be like, okay, that means making sure there's soap. You go around the house and you collect all the dishes, you wash them, you dry them, you put them away within a 24-hour period. And if it doesn't get done, I'm not stepping in. It's all you.
Yeah.
And so it sparks these conversations so that you actually understand. And this is why it's applicable at work,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, okay, what does ordering bagels take?
Yeah.
You think it's just blogging online and somehow miraculously I just like know what to order? Or am I
Mm-hmm.
putting time and energy into checking if allergen issues, getting everyone's preference, estimating how many people will be there, to setting the schedule? Like, let's
Yeah.
talk about it.
Let's talk about it. And oh my gosh, I love the card game where it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, dishes. Because when I was a child, my parents would make fun of me because it's like, they'd say, go look for your shoes. And they'd be like, it's like you and your sister are just looking up at the ceiling and for
Mm-hmm.
2 seconds and then going, we couldn't find them. And it's like, because at some point, there does have to be an expectation set about when you say clean your room to a child, that could mean I picked up 3 things off the floor and it looks better to me.
Mm-hmm.
So to bridge that gap between what's in my head and what's in your head, there's just so much mind reading expectation in the way that we run relationships, whether they be professional, friendships, romantic partnerships, any of it, that it's like, no, you actually have to speak.
Yeah, and that's an old one that like makes my hair stand up my on end, which is that I'm not a mind reader.
Yeah.
But I think what is underneath that is like, I'm not a mind reader, which means somebody wants you to make a list for them.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, if you're not a mind reader, then please help me facilitate this conversation
Right.
so we can explicitly decide. So when I say, you got the dishes this week, you're not just like, okay, but remind me the next day.
Yeah.
Like, we know the expectations, we set an end, you have it for the entire week.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, I'm gonna, you know what, you said you got it,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bother you, you got it.
You got it. Yeah. Because I think a lot of the time, because I can be so petty,
No, same.
and a lot of the time, the pettiness comes from so you really thought that that was the way to do it? Okay. But if you're having these conversations about it, and then you're having those conversations once, and you're like, I'm taking this off of my mental emotional load. I
Yes.
need you to know that I'm not making time for it. I'm setting up the boundary. I'm like, there will be no spoons assigned to the dishes. It creates such a more open atmosphere than just both of you seething because one person really thought that they accomplished a task and one person still thinks the kitchen is a disaster.
Right. And that's like the super tricky part. Pull it back to mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
because even when you have these conversations, it's not going to be perfect.
Mm-mm.
But one of the really important pieces is like deciding why something happens and then trying to get buy-in.
Yeah.
So for me, my husband's always like, you didn't get the kids' socks. And I'm always like, well, in the summer, she's just going to take her shoes off anyway. And it's easier to slide them on and off. And her socks won't get wet if she like plays in the yard.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's the last thing on my mind. But for him, he's like, I have I have ruined so many pairs of shoes by putting my stinky socksless feet in
Yeah.
shoes. And I was like, okay, fair. I don't want her like let's teach her that she can take her socks off when she
Mm-hmm.
goes outside. And like I still forget because it is just not ingrained in me,
Yeah.
but I'm not like forget you, like your standards are too high. I'm
It's
not like
just,
crying about it. I'm like,
yeah.
sorry, I got it. And I go get her socks.
It's just like a lot of scorekeeping. I don't
Yeah,
know if that's capitalism that made us all decide to keep score in our marriages and our parenting
probably. Yeah.
styles,
Yeah.
but we're not in competition with one another. We've all chosen to live in this house together. So why are we constantly like giving points and taking away points? I think it's so cool. One of the coolest things that I think you do is you combat how weaponized incompetence is just cute in our media. So like when
Yeah.
someone posts about like, look at him, he's holding that baby upside down.
Yes.
He's so silly. Like he doesn't know that that baby's head should be in the air. You just immediately do it and you're like, that's not silly. It's not silly and it's not cute. Why is he holding your baby by the ankle? And why has it not been said to him that babies' heads need to be in the air? Like,
Yeah, and that's I've learned when I had a smaller following, I could do it and stitch people directly
mm-hmm.
because it was fine and it wouldn't direct my followers there.
Yeah,
But now I specifically pull a video down,
yeah,
erase the username,
mm-hmm.
and I comment, and I'm trying to like comment on whatever joke they're making.
Yeah,
Like you said, where I'm not like, you're an incompetent asshole.
right,
I try to be like, pretending that you don't know how to take care of your kids is dumb.
right. Why is that baby upside down?
It's like, for example, there is this trending sound that drives me nuts. It's like mom's eating dinner, dad's eating dinner. And it's like the mom not being able to eat anything with
No,
3 kids, and then
uh-huh.
the dad just like enjoying his beer.
It's that scene in A Christmas Story where he says out loud, my mother hasn't had a hot meal since 42, or like whenever that movie takes place.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, why is that funny to you?
Right.
What's funny about that?
Mm-hmm.
And what I appreciate is like, I have a handful of men who follow me. I try as often as I can to highlight like the ways in which other men and other partners push back on that. And I wish I could do it more, but like when I would immediately the second a meal would come out when I had both babies, they'd be hungry.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, "Great. Now I have to nurse a baby while trying to eat a hamburger."
Right.
Or like, and my husband would, because he was not busy, he would cut everything up for me and be like, do you want me to eat first or do you want to eat first? And then would like either feed me or he'd
Mm-hmm.
eat fast so that he could then take the baby and I could have a baby off of me while I ate.
Yeah. That's adorable.
And it's not abnormal,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't get like, that's not like a joke. Like it's
Right.
not funny, haha.
Well,
It uh, doesn't have to
so
be that way.
it's like when you're at the playground and a dad pushed his kid on the swing 3 times and all of the women are like gasping and drooling over him.
Yeah.
I like to counter that idea with like, well, is he a good dad or is he the guy that like makes your kids laugh 5 minutes every day?
Yeah.
Because where's that guy going to be for the parent teacher conference or math
Yeah.
homework?
That's a really interesting piece of it. And there's a whole genre of momfluencers,
Mm-hmm.
and they like rely on martyrdom.
Yeah.
And there's this one who I think is like possibly, I don't know. It seems like she's like in it. Might be religion. I'm not going to try to make any judgments there. But whatever culture she is a part of, it's like putting their male partner's wellness first.
Um,
And she does this video series where it's reframes, and it's like it's like uh you're not it's not too overwhelming to do the cooking and the cleaning. It's like, here's the reframe: you're providing for a joyful experience for your family. And then it's like, you don't need to be frustrated at your husband for coming home and not helping.
mhm.
And it's like, he's having joyful time with the kids. And it's just all these like,
Yeah. Toxic positivity.
yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
well, maybe if he made dinner, then you could play
Can,
with your kids.
right. Or like make dinner a fun activity for your
Right.
kids. I have a friend who's like 5-year-old has learned how to sew because
Ooh,
she also likes to sew. So it's like we drew on fabric and we were like, this is how you like do the needle and all of it. And she makes better things than I do at 5 years old.
that's
and
so cool.
and it is so cool. She's one of the most amazing moms I've ever encountered. But like she also likes to bake and can and cook, and all of that stuff brings her joy. But she somehow also incorporated it to where the 5-year-old also finds some sort of joy or fun in that. So
Hmm.
a kid is being monitored, but you're not losing any time in that. You're doubling down on activities.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the other piece of that is, if you have a partner, they could be like the safety person and
Mm-hmm.
like get your 5-year-old out of there if they start being overwhelming, so that you
Yeah.
can still protect the activity that you like.
Oh yeah, because I have gotten overwhelmed with I'm the oldest grandchild on my mother's side. And when I was tasked to make Christmas cookies, I kicked every child out of the kitchen. I was like, no. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
y'all are talking. Y'all have moved my spoons. Like, you have flour everywhere. Get out of grandma's kitchen. And they're like, we're always allowed in grandma's kitchen. I'm like, no, I'm in charge of grandma's kitchen tonight and you all have to go.
Yeah.
Because if you want cookies, this is how they're going to be made.
The other thing, to your point of like pushing the kid on the swing, is like, I remember maybe a year ago, a video went viral when a dad braided his daughter's hair.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it was like, you're giving me an incredible example of your friend like fully executing an incredible task, which is like boiling water, sanitizing jars, canning,
Yeah,
pickling, with a 5-year-old.
yeah.
And I don't know, I didn't see that viral video.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't show up on my For You page.
Right. And so the TikTok of a man braiding his daughter's hair and that becoming like the sensation of the year. To relate it to single women and single people, this is a TikTok that haunts me every day. It's a man confused as to why a woman was scared of him in the gym parking lot. Did you see it?
I That was like when I first got on TikTok and I raged.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
He's
God.
like,
Tell me all about your
ugh.
thoughts.
He's like, I just, so I was at the gym today, and he's clearly like flabbergasted. He's like, I was at the gym today, and I was walking behind a woman who was also like walking to her car in the gym, and she kept like eyeing me like I was going to attack her or whatever. And then she kept like trying to make it so I was walking in front of her so she could see me. And I just don't understand where this has all gone wrong. And men, do we need to be better? And then the comments, the thank you so much for being an ally.
Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
so much for caring about her safety, my safety, and the safety of all of us. I go, no, because he's not talking to his bros. Like, he didn't call his bros and was like, dude, women are like afraid of us in parking lots. He's asking women why we're so afraid of them.
And like, he was like 35.
Yeah. Also, he was grown.
That's what drives me wild, is like, there was a guy who actually just decided to leave the platform because he made a couple of missteps that were
Mm-hmm.
loud. But he he had this viral video where he was like, do men hate women? Like, do you men, we need to do better. And he's a married man with 4 daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what do you mean? Like, where have you been, guys?
So that's weaponized ignorance.
Yes, yes.
Because it's the reason why no one understands why if I'm on a dark street and the only person I see is a lone strange man, I'm going to pretend to be on the phone with another man who loves me.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, why do you have to take that extra step? Maybe that guy would have been nice to you. Can't
No.
take the risk. Watch too many SVU episodes.
Yeah, and I've talked about this at length. I would talk about it on Instagram and TikTok and in my own life. I'm sure people wish I would shut up. But there is stranger danger, right? Like, we know that there's a risk of existing out in public.
Mm-hmm.
There's also this piece where privately and publicly, men do not come to the rescue.
Yeah.
And like, somebody was shouting at me on the street about a year ago, and I was walking quickly because he was coming after me and yelling, and he was probably having some sort of mental health type of
Yeah.
thing going on, but he was still yelling sexual things at me.
Mm-hmm.
And a man in a car saw me and rolled his window up, looked down at his phone, and moved his seat back. And I was like, I looked at him. And then I got home and I was talking to a male friend of mine about it. And he was like, yeah, but why do you really expect someone to get involved when someone's having a mental health crisis? I was like, yes. I know that if Natalie was there, she would have gotten out of the freaking car.
Oh, you should see me at Gen Con telling the creeps to get away from the girl dressed as Wonder Woman.
Right.
Because she's trapped. And they're like, we want you to be kneeling, and now we want you to hold your sword like this. And they just feel like they own her because they've seen 3 Wonder Woman movies. And I posture up, and I'm like, get away from her. She said she wants to go play D&D. She also paid to be here.
Yep.
Did you see the movie, Promising Young Woman?
Oh, yeah.
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 When I watched Promising Young Woman, all of a sudden I was asked a bunch of times by people in my life, why are they acting like if a woman is belligerent and drunk in public, she is guaranteed to be a victim of a man? And I went, why would they make me? It's like they're trying to point out that all men are capable of doing this. And I go, huh? And I go, I guess you've never had your friend walk up to you and go, you'll never believe what happened to my cousin with a man that she's known for years. I go, we can't even be safe in our own friend groups.
That came out in my friend group years ago. And I actually, that's why I ended a lot of friendships, is because exact scenario. One of our closest male friends went home with somebody, and she woke up the next morning and said, I have faint recognition of what happened to me, and I don't want to shake things up, and I would prefer not to cause any trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just not going to say anything. She told this to multiple people, and they continued to invite this man around. I did not find out that he was a dangerous and violent man until 4 or 5 years after the fact. And I was like, you brought this man back to hang out with us where he could have done it again?
Yeah.
No freaking way.
There's nothing that feels stranger in my tummy than when I have to empathize with my male cousins, my dude bros, any of the men in my life, when they've had to witness one of their very close friends do something shitty, and then they have to run through the script. Am I shitty? Has he been shitty all along? It happened when Chris D'Elia came out with all of his, he's a comedian, and girl came forward and was like, that bastard's been asking for my boob pics since before I was 18. Mm-hmm. And then all of the male comedians had to be like, am I shitty? Have I asked underage girls to show me their titties? Have I done that on stage or just on the internet? And you watch them like work it through because they have no parameter of what is actually shitty.
That's such a good point that you put your finger on, which is like when young boys grow up with those types of like micro assault, micro consent violations, and then it goes unchecked, then they don't know. It's when it drives me nuts, like after the Me Too movement, when so many men were like, I don't know how to approach a woman anymore.
Oh my God.
It's like, you don't know how? What do you mean you don't know how?
Right. What do you mean you don't know how to talk to me respectfully? That's what you just said to me. You don't know how to walk up to me and know that you've been kind, loving, and respectful.
Yeah. Yeah. And unfortunately, I think that's right. Like, I think that a lot of them don't freaking know how.
And now I've allowed you in my life. I have given you affection. I have committed myself to having some sort of love for you. But I don't know if I can put my friend in your car.
Yeah. Yep.
Or I don't know if you're going to call me a derogatory name because I went to the Women's March. Like, these are things I have to think about. And, oh, it just makes me so mad.
Well, and is it Chris D'Elia? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
He just got married to someone who knows all about it.
Gross.
Yeah. I saw that. I just got on Twitter and I saw a picture and someone was like, that's disgusting. It's like, good one. Zing.
There was, I can't remember when I've talked about it, but there was an incident at my high school where a group of gentlemen masturbated into the same cup and then threw it on a freshman.
No.
And one of them works at my high school.
No.
They're all married or in some sort of relationship with people who were in school with me when I was asked to support them.
No.
Because they were going to take us to state.
No.
Yeah. And it's okay. I hate watched 13 Reasons Why because I couldn't let it go.
Yeah.
And then there was that season where they tried to humanize the rapist. And I was like, why are we doing this? I believe that everyone can grow and I can believe that everyone can repent. But he was bad, and he was very dangerous. And now you're telling girls he might be nice to you, though. You never know.
Did you see the article that was trending yesterday from New York Times?
No.
It's exactly that. It's like cancel culture is real. Just to look at this story of a 17-year-old. And it just check it out. It is weirdly written. And the author of it writes about this boy who shared nudes, revenge porn of his underage girlfriend. And then when the girl like went to admin and eventually the cops, nothing happened. And so her friends got behind her and made a list of other people who had assaulted people who were dangerous, posted it in school, and a lot of them faced consequences like being cut out of their social friend group. So she writes this entire article about how that's cancel culture and how it's really inappropriate to punish a young boy for a one-time mistake.
I would like to know if people in my life are committing assault so I don't have to have them in my life because I don't want to have to go through the mental Olympics of who's in the room right now and will my friend corner them and do something inappropriate.
Yep. The article is getting lit up.
Oh,
it's awful. It's awful.
like how they tried to make all of Johnny Depp's former partners admit that he was very loving towards them. And I'm like, listen, you can love one person and hit another person. I've seen it happen.
Yeah, I have like stayed out of the Depp Heard discourse.
Very proud of you.
And because like to me it feels very distant, but what feels really real is the way that my loved ones frame their understanding of it. And so when I, like, for example, years ago, I disclosed like a situation to my brother. And then his response was to then relate it to when a friend of his was falsely accused And I was
Yes.
like, oh, that's where your brain goes to when somebody speaks out a
Hmm.
real actual thing. So I'm never going to do that with you ever again.
Thank you.
You're not safe, is what I hear.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me know clearly and efficiently. It's like how I lost a bunch of friends when Kesha was in court.
Oh,
And
really?
oh, yeah. So the Kesha case for me was the Depp Heard case for a lot of people where I was involved. I was like, the music industry is skeezy. It needs to come out. Lady Gaga's on the stand being like, I saw, I walked up to a door, opened that door and saw it. And people were like, what did Kesha expect? She dropped out of high school to be Kesha. She likes to get turned. Like,
Oh,
I guess there was too much glitter in her eyes for her to see the assault coming her way. I had a really good conversation with one man that I worked for where I completely turned his narrative around on her. He had worked with her before and he saw my Kesha poster and he's like, are you a Kesha fan? And I was like, yeah, she's one of my like high goddesses. Like literally pray to her every day. And he's like, she's such a hot mess when I had to interact with her. And I was like, well, did you ever think about it years later when it came out that a bunch of men were drugging and abusing her to keep her right where they needed her to be money wise? That
hmm,
she could have been on uppers, or she could have been on downers, or she could have been assaulted 15 minutes ago. Like, and so we had the conversation. I go, you need to listen to her Rainbow album. I go, because every song on that album makes me remember something that I or a close friend have had to go through. And he
hmm.
went, okay. And he was like nice to me about Kesha for the rest of our career together. And I was like, you have to put it in the context. Yeah,
Yeah,
she was messy, but why doesn't she deserve empathy about her messy?
right, right.
Yeah.
Yep. And I love that, like the way that it's such a nice thing to hear when someone can reframe, can
Hmm.
actually be called in about it and
Yeah.
be like, wow, I didn't have that understanding before and now I do.
Yeah.
So nice to hear when people can do that.
And I can't remember if I told him that that was the moment where he earned my respect. And it like carried far, probably way further than it should have with me. But that was the moment where I was like, I can come to you if something is shitty and make you go, can I give you 5 reasons as to why this is shitty? And you're going to have the empathy to hear me out.
Right. Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so important and absolutely it's I think it takes learning for a lot of people.
Yeah. I can no longer tolerate the privilege that people carry because they haven't had to witness something or go through something. And it's like, so we've technically haven't had war on US soil in a while, but we also realize that it was shitty for France to go through World War II on their soil.
Mhm. Right. Right.
So, where's the disconnect when it comes to things like assault, helplessness in the home, women's labor not being respected? Where's the disconnect?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, it shouldn't have to happen to you
Yeah,
for understanding and empathy.
right. Okay, well, we do have 2 traditions to close out the show on to all the men I've tolerated before. We need to stay in touch because I feel like I could talk to you about anything for 3
Uh-huh.
hours. But what has been your biggest life lesson takeaway, either through the TikToks and the Instagram posts that you make, or fair play in general, or the term weaponized incompetence? What's been your biggest, I need to pass this on to people because here's my lesson?
I think the biggest lesson is that when you talk about things that matter to you, there's probably other people out there who relate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, don't let the fear of being judged or, I don't know, the shame or anything like that hold you back
Yeah,
because they're you sharing your story is how other people start having these conversations out loud.
yeah. I think my biggest takeaway is you can approach someone with empathy and say all of the things like, hey, I know the society that we're living in. I know how you've been raised. I know how the fuck I was raised. And I understand why these structures have entered our home, our friendship, our professional life, wherever it is. But it is also okay to go, this is where I'd like the future to be going. And this is
Yes.
how I'm going to operate in our relationship to make sure that that's the future I'm heading into. Feel free to RSVP yes to that party, or feel free to not be a person who's in my life for very long.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Totally. Yeah, you're
What?
allowed to have standards.
And then our second wrap up is our manifesting, where we take all of these heavy things that we've talked about. Like, I'm still managing to bring up the Deb Hurd trial and the TikTok guy that pissed me off one time. I feel like it was 2 years ago at this point. And we walk forward in positivity where we offer up to the collective universe some hope. So where would you like us to head in the future? What are you hoping for?
Um, oh, that's such an open-ended question.
Mm-hmm. It's very
I
granola.
Yeah, I hope that we can all honor our own needs.
Oh, there it is. I love that.
How about you?
I'm hoping that I stop. I'm hoping that the loneliness of this cause starts to ebb away, honestly. And I think that has a lot to do with your lesson, where it's through these stories we find connections. Because when I'm standing in a group of people being treated like the witch in the Salem witch trial, like, why is this important?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to like stand and give a speech or crack a joke or dispel all of the tension. It's starting to make me feel lonelier in my cause, which is an odd mindset because I've met so many amazing people who are
Mm-hmm.
also like, no, this is why your message is important. They just happen to not always be an arm's length away from me when I'm
Yeah.
around people who still need convincing. It's like oh no, I don't want to be Chris Pratt. I hate him. But it's like I'm him with the Raptors, like just trying to click.
Yeah.
Be like, no, you too can respect women.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
This has been such a wonderful conversation. Please know that once you're on Team Tolerator, it's very hard to leave. You get to come back anytime you're angry.
Well, I'm angry quite often,
Yeah.
so I would love to.
You get
It's
to
been really
text
fun.
me, DM me, email me, and be like, hey, I just thought of this episode. And I'm going to be like, cool, can't believe I didn't think of it. When do you want to schedule it?
Awesome. Let's do it.
But let my followers know all the wonderful ways they can connect with you.
So you can find me on TikTok and Instagram at that darn chat, no spaces. I kind of do some YouTube stuff and I have book lists that I've been curating on Goodreads and the Storygraph. So if you want to read along with me, you can follow me there.
I love that. One of my dreams is to have the time to
Yeah.
do a book, to do a Tolerator book club.
I love it.
I kind of want it to be young adult lit because they're shorter and we just like look at them and go, this is why. This is why we accepted this for so long.
That's
It's all
a good
that
idea.
Edward Cullen's fault. Tolerators, you know the drill. There's a link tree in all of the show notes. Click that. It'll take you to Fireside. It'll take you to the Patreon. It'll take you to the blog with the transcripts now. You're out there. You can find me. I know it. And remember, tolerators, you don't have to smile through anything you're tolerating, including someone that you've watched hand build a desk tell you that they don't know where the dish soap is. Smiles are for joy. Hey everyone, it's Natalie, and I'm just here real quick to tell you that To All the Men I've Tolerated Before officially has merchandise. So if you're looking for a really great way to support the show and get our name out there so everyone can be on Team Tolerator, consider following the link in our show notes or in the bio of our Instagram at Men I've Tolerated Pod so you can buy one of our title tees or see some of our holiday lines like our feminist spooky line that includes t-shirts like Misogyny is Monstrous or My Past Relationships Still Haunt Me with a beautiful haunted house on it. Happy spooky season, have a great day, and go shopping and treat yourself. You deserve it.